Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving deep into a really fascinating idea. What if the Great Pyramid of Giza wasn't a tomb at all, but a colossal ancient power plant? And what if, thousands of years later, Nikola Tesla, the genius inventor, somehow rediscovered its secrets, only to have them buried all over again? Okay, so right off the bat, let's just challenge something we've all been taught since we were kids. You see the Great Pyramid, you automatically think tomb. It's almost a reflex. But what if that basic, fundamental assumption is just plain wrong? Let's actually look at the evidence. So the official story is that this was the final resting place for the pharaoh Khufu. But, for a king's tomb, it's weirdly empty. No mummy was ever found inside. Not a single piece of treasure. And the walls? They're completely bare. None of the intricate hieroglyphs and paintings that you see covering literally every other royal tomb in Egypt. It just doesn't add up.
So, if it wasn't a tomb, what in the world was it? Well, there's a growing number of engineers and researchers who argue that the answer isn't in history books, but in physics. They believe the materials, the very design of the pyramid, point to one absolutely startling purpose. It was built to be a machine.
When you look at its design, it's basically a masterclass in electrical engineering. The outer shell was made of limestone, which is a great conductor. But the critical inner chambers and passages, those were lined with granite, which is an amazing insulator. This whole setup, a conductive exterior with an insulated core, is a fundamental design you'd see in all sorts of modern electrical components.
And you have to imagine what this looked like originally. It wasn't the rough, sand-colored stone we see today. No, it was covered in these brilliant white Tura limestone blocks, hauled from over 800 kilometers away. And they were polished so perfectly that it would have shone like a second sun in the desert, acting as this massive conductive surface.
Now here's the secret ingredient inside that insulating granite: quartz. The granite used for the king's chamber is just packed with these crystals. We still use quartz today, in our watches to regulate the flow of energy from a battery. But it has this other amazing property, the piezoelectric effect. It's a fancy term, but it's simple. When you put quartz under immense pressure, it generates an electric voltage.
So, when you put all these pieces together, the theory becomes crystal clear. Proponents argue that the pyramid's own colossal weight was squeezing those quartz-rich granite chambers, creating an electrical charge. This energy was then supposedly amplified by the natural vibrations of the Earth itself, turning the entire pyramid into a massive resonant machine. This wasn't a tomb. It was an ancient power plant.
But here is where the story takes an absolutely incredible turn. Thousands of years after the pyramids were built, a visionary inventor would independently design a structure for the exact same purpose, using startlingly similar principles without even knowing it.
Let's jump forward to the early 1900s and meet Nikola Tesla. This guy wasn't just trying to invent a better light bulb. His dream was way, way bigger. He wanted to tap into the Earth's natural energy field and broadcast free, wireless power to everyone on the planet. I mean, can you imagine? A world with no electric bills, no power lines.
And to make this incredible dream a reality, he started building his masterpiece in 1901, the Wardenclyffe Tower. Now, this thing wasn't just a big radio antenna. It was designed to be the very first hub in a global wireless energy grid. Okay, this is where it gets a little spooky. The similarities are just uncanny. Both the pyramids and Tesla's tower were deliberately built on top of underground water aquifers. And get this, both use deep copper grounding rods. We only confirmed the copper rods at Giza in 2018. Two structures built millennia apart for the exact same purpose with the same core design. It's wild. And here's the absolute crucial point. Tesla wasn't copying the pyramids. He couldn't have been. In 1901, the only thing anyone thought was, it's a tomb. He had no way of knowing about the aquifers or the special materials inside. He got to the same design principles all on his own, just by studying the physics of our planet. So that raises a massive question, right? If Tesla had rediscovered this incredible technology, why aren't we all using free wireless power today? Well, the answer, tragically, comes down to one incredibly powerful man and his own personal interests. Tesla's main financial backer was the banking titan JP Morgan. Now, Morgan thought he was funding a new way to send wireless messages. But when Tesla finally revealed the project's true potential to provide limitless energy that you couldn't measure, Morgan was horrified. I mean, think about it.
How do you put an electric meter on something that's free for everyone?
For Morgan, Tesla's vision was a complete financial nightmare. His entire empire was built on the very industries that free, wireless power would make obsolete. For starters, he owned General Electric, which sold metered electricity to the masses.
He also controlled the massive copper mines that produced pretty much all the world's electrical wiring. Wireless power? Suddenly, all that copper isn't worth nearly as much.
And it didn't stop there. His investments also included the timber for utility poles and the factories making insulation for all those cables, all of which would become totally useless. And here's the final nail in the coffin: U.S. Steel. Morgan's company built the giant generators that powered the world's power plants. Tesla's technology didn't just threaten one part of his empire, it threatened the whole shebang.
So JP Morgan didn't just pull his own investment. He used his immense power in the financial world to make absolutely sure that no other bank, no other investor would give Tesla a single dime. He was, for all intents and purposes, blacklisted.
Starved of cash, Tesla was forced to just
give up.
His dream, the Wardenclyffe Tower, was torn down and sold for scrap. And just like that, the revolutionary technology for global free energy was buried.
So Tesla's story shows us how a world-changing technology could be lost, right? Well, that brings us right back to our original mystery in Egypt. Is it possible that the technology inside the pyramids wasn't just lost to time, but was actually part of a story that is far, far older than any of us imagine?
Okay, so this slide really shows the conflict. Mainstream history books tell us the pyramids were built about 4,500 years ago, but other evidence, from geology and astronomy, points way further back. We know for a fact there was massive flooding in Giza at the end of the last ice age, around 11,700 years ago, and some researchers argue the pyramids were built even earlier, 13,500 years ago. So why that specific date?
Well, it's all about the stars. 13,500 years ago, the layout of the three Giza pyramids on the ground was a perfect mirror image of the three stars in Orion's belt up in the sky. It was a perfect match. On top of that, geologists have pointed to these deep water erosion patterns on the Sphinx, patterns caused by massive rainfall, not by wind and sand. It all points to the idea of a lost, highly advanced civilization that was wiped out by a global catastrophe, like the flood at the end of the last ice age.
And that brings us to our final and maybe most important thought. This whole story of the pyramids, of Tesla's tower, it isn't just about ancient history or one forgotten inventor. It's really a cautionary tale for us, today. If a technology that could have literally changed the world was deliberately snuffed out a century ago because it threatened powerful financial interests, it really forces you to ask, what other incredible, world-changing ideas might be facing that exact same fate right now?
If you enjoyed videos like this, give it a like and subscribe if you'd like to see more.